Let's return to the fire tragedy in the Johannesburg CBD. Last count, 73 people had died in that blaze, an unknown cause, but what is of huge concern are the living conditions inside that building that no doubt made this fire spread far with deadly consequences. SABC News' Hasina Gori is on the ground. Hasina, sure, I guess it's now just about piecing together what happened and what caused this horror. What's the latest from where you are?
Good afternoon. The scenes that you're seeing right now are from the inner city of Johannesburg, where the building was set alight from the early hours of the morning. We have confirmation from the emergency services that 73 people have passed on and been fatally wounded. We know that at least 40 people have been taken to hospital for various minor injuries, according to the EMS. 140 families have been displaced and left without a roof over their head following this incident. And we know that there's at least 300 people that were living inside this building that has been confirmed to have been hijacked and abandoned. The city of Johannesburg does say that they own this building, but it was leased out to an NGO, but then it's since been abandoned. We know that it's been sublet and taken over by other syndicates, which then sublet various of the rooms using structures that are for informal settlements such as zinc and cardboard. It's believed that this is what could have caused that fire to so speedily go through the building. I want to bring in one of the family members that have been here, outside. She says that she's looking for one of her family members. Ethel, can you tell us what brought you here this morning and who are you looking for right now?
I'm looking for my younger brother. It's Kenneth. And my other brother called me and he said, he tried to call me. When I checked now, it's 2:48. When they tried to call me, they didn't get hold of me. And then I saw the news on the family group, WhatsApp group, that there was a tragedy, and then I saw the pictures as well. So I'm here looking for him. So I can't go inside, but I saw his car, it's still there. Just that I want to see his body. But I've sent some of the families, they went to check for him in hospitals. So I'm just still waiting for the calls from the other side in hospitals while I've been waiting for this side.
Your brother Kenneth, can you tell us how long did he live in this building and where was his room in this building? Can you give us a sense of when last did you speak to him and what does he do?
We always talk on a WhatsApp group family to greet each other. He's been here about 5 to 6 years. He's been staying here. He's a qualified lawyer, but he does not practice for that. He works for a Unilever company. And then I sometimes come and visit him. Where he stays on that building there, right in the corner, the last part of the building. And the second one, there's a windows there. It's a second lane of the windows, the second floor from the top. That's where he stays. So I just noticed with the two dishes, they're still there. Apparently, I spoke to one of the lady who stayed next door. I called and she told me that he jumped from the window. And then she tried to went out, she's burned on the face. And then she tried to escape, come down, jump on some of the ground floor windows. But I don't know how is he, or if he's still here on those bodies, or he's still in hospital.
We're told that some of the buildings inside the rooms here, that they're divided, so one flat would be separated into two. What was it like inside that building when you visited?
When I visited, I don't want to lie, as from the bottom, I don't know most of the rooms. I only walk up and go straight to his room. But his room, there is no board. It's just a building, normal room with bricks. It's built, it's fine, it's big. But the others, I don't know. Normally, it's quite a lot of people. I don't want to lie. It was like a lot of people. staying here. Some of them, they're foreigners. But my brother, he's a South African. We're from Newcastle. But that building was overcrowded. I don't want to lie. Because even when you go up on the steps, you have to ask an excuse to pass.
Have you had any officials that you've been in contact with and are able to find out any information about your brother and what happened here?
No, no one have contacted me because when I spoke to some of the people and trying to find out, and then I want to go through as well and go and check what is going on. When they to see those bodies, if they see bodies, because no officials have informed us anything. While I'm still here, I'm still waiting.
Thank you so much, Ethel. I hope that you do find your brother and he is safe, given that, the neighbors have said that he did manage to at least leave the building. So we hope and we pray that he's in good health and that there is some news soon. Thank you so much. That was Ethal Jakes speaking to us here outside of this building, just describing to us that she's looking for her brother, who's one of those that were inside the building, telling us that he had a room here. He's a South African national, a qualified lawyer who's been living here for at least 5 to 6 years. She had said it is an overcrowded building when she had visited him, and that since 2:48 this morning, her family have been trying to locate him, and he has not yet been located. This incident that take place in the inner city this morning, we know that the traffic around this area is always, a concern given peak hour traffic through Johannesburg CBD. I want to bring in the JMPD. Palani, thank you so much for speaking to us. Can you just give us a sense for those that may be on the road this morning, given that Bree Street is still closed off, given the explosion that took place? What is the traffic situation like, and where should they deter themselves?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. These are really terrible scenes indeed. And the building that is affected is situated at the corner of Albert and Delver Street. And that portion of the road has definitely been closed off. And actually the whole block has been closed off. And then Albert Street is closed off from Van Veiler Street heading towards Troy Street. Then there are also closures on Frederick Street, on Melrose Street, and on Anderson Street as well. And then we are just urging motorists to be aware of the situation that just happened and to do the most to avoid. I know that this part of the city is not too busy, and especially when it comes to vehicle traffic, but we are seeing a bit of traffic disruptions, especially on Van Veiler Street. It could be onlookers who are just looking at what has just happened, but we're also urging them not to stop, but to move on so that they don't impede traffic. So motorists can use Van Veiler Street as an alternative. They can also use Durban Street. They can use Parley Street, Troy Street, and Main Street as alternative routes to avoid the scene.
Thank you so much, Glani, speaking to us here in the corner of Albert Street here, and just giving us an update on the traffic disruptions that are taking place here due to this incident that took place. We spoke with the EMS earlier this morning, earlier on. They was just telling us that they are concluding their part of the search and rescue with 73 bodies that had been found. They had been going from each level of the building. It's a 5-story building that is here. I'm going to ask Masabata to just give you a look and see what we're seeing right now. So earlier on, you could see quite a number of EMS officials going into and out of the building, search and rescue teams going from room to room, hoping and praying that whoever may still be there was found, and going through to ensure that also any fire that may still be alight was doused out as well. We're hearing from the various different stakeholders, which include human settlement as well as various other NGOs, to ensure that those that might find themselves displaced do have a place to stay. When we spoke with the Gauteng government earlier on and provincial government, they said that they have 3 buildings that will house those that have been affected, that there will be a place for them to be safe at this time. And now the second part of the operations will now begin, and that is where the police will now take themselves through the building to try and ascertain what exactly took place and how did the fire spread that far, who could be held liable, and what needs to be what steps need to be taken from there. We also have the task of finding the families and identifying the 73 that had passed on, and to ensure that their families find them and that they're given a proper burial at this time. Also, those that might find themselves in hospital might also need to have their families contacted. So this is what is unfolding right now. It is an ongoing situation. We know that there's expected to be a press briefing at 3 o'clock by the provincial government to give us an update with preliminary reports on what exactly took place, and just to update on maybe the number of fatalities, but also on the structural integrity of the building, whether or not it can be habitable again, and what will happen to those that have hijacked this building.